I'm blind and I met my husband on the internet. My husband, Matthew, was the first to reach out to me, and I have to admit, I was a little nervous about telling him about my blindness. I personally feel like your disability is something that you should disclose with people that you really trust, not just like any stranger on the internet. So I didn't include that in my dating profile. However, after a few days of chatting, I felt comfortable enough to tell Matthew about my blindness. And guess what? He ghosted me. He ghosted me. There was no reply. I went to bed that night thinking, okay, fine. Another guy who can't handle my disability. But when I woke up the next morning, I found a very long and thoughtful reply from Matthew. He had so many questions. I was actually in shock. I'd never in my life met somebody who was so interested in my condition. He had clearly done a lot of research. But even more special than that was the audio clip that he sent along with his message. You see, Matthew's a violinist. He's a very, very talented violinist. And he sent me a clip of him playing Ave Maria on stage with world famous tenor opera singer Andrea Bocelli. Okay? I may be blind, but I know a catch when I see one. So I agreed to meet Matthew on one condition, that he bring his violin and give me a lesson. So we met for lunch and he taught me how to play Twinkle Twinkle. I was terrible, obviously. But then he serenaded me with a song of my request, Jeff Buckley's version of Hallelujah, one of my favorite songs of all time. That night, after a date, I wrote in my journal, I think I just met my husband. Which of course I didn't tell him that, and I wouldn't for 3 whole years, because I read that journal entry for my wedding vows. And guess what Matthew did for his wedding vows? He played his violin. And I bet you know what song he played. Yes, Hallelujah, my favorite version. All of us were in tears. These eyes might not work, but they can cry. My husband is the most talented musician I have ever met. It's the reason I fell in love with him initially. Like, it was the reason I wanted to meet him. It's the reason I wanted a second date. His music is streaming on Spotify. It's on Apple. It's everywhere you look. If you look up Matthew Castle, you can listen to all of his music, including the version of Hallelujah that he played for me, and then he played again at our wedding, and it's still one of my all-time favorite songs. And I swear to God, if he does not play Hallelujah on our 50th wedding anniversary, then something's wrong.